Hey up. Right, first of all, I'd like to say a big thank you for the encouragement that I got from Friday's video. I did think I'd made perhaps a big mistake getting the GB350. I know now from the response I got to Friday's video that I didn't. I would also like to thank everybody that joined up to my Patreon page, made super thanks donations and PayPal donations. It does make life a lot easier for me. As I say, thank you so much. I really do appreciate everybody's support. Now, the Honda GB350s. My first priority always with the bike really is luggage. I've got my main camera to carry, lots of spare batteries and bits and pieces, microphones, that kind of thing, a travel tripod. I can carry them on my back, and that's what I've been doing in a backpack. But you're talking about 5 kilograms, so over distance it starts to get quite uncomfortable. So whenever I get a new bike, one of the first things that I try to do is sort out some sort of luggage option. Now, I've worked with various companies over the years. One name that is always coming up in the comment section on those luggage videos is a company called HEPCO and Becker in Germany. People are always asking me to review their systems. Up until now, I've not been able to do that. Now, HEPCO and Becker, I approached them while I was waiting for delivery of the bike and asked them if they would be willing to supply some luggage for an impartial review. To my surprise, they were delighted to do so, but what I will say is my opinions expressed in this video and some other videos, because we've got more than one HEPCO and Becker item to review, will be my own. You know, if I think something's wrong, this video will never see the light of day. I will just send it back, but provided I'm happy with it, this video will be published. And what we're going to look at today is the SIBO luggage mounting system. This is a lock-on mounting system, so no one can run off with your luggage. Each bag comes with a key knot. The SIBO system is actually a very versatile system. They've got a huge range of soft luggage, both modern and vintage inspired, as well as hard cases that all fit onto this SIBO system. I've chosen some bags that I thought would complement the GB350. I'm not going to show them in this video because this video is mainly about the mounting system and how to mount it on the GB350s specific kit. Now, I'm not going to live narrate all the way through this fitting video because I've discovered that the radio mic just eats camera batteries, and I've only got so many camera batteries, so I'm going to get this bit out of the way. I'll quickly show you the items that I'm going to fit today, and then the rest I'll just narrate over the footage as I usually do. Right, so the kit comes with some pretty comprehensive instructions. I mean, it doesn't look too involved, to be quite honest. There does seem to be an awful lot of fasteners in the package, but other than that, it does seem to be simple and straightforward as far as I can see. Now, I'm also going to be fitting a rear rack on this bike in due course. The main reason being that when I spoke to Honda about the possibility of them releasing a passenger grab rail, I didn't really get a straight answer from them, but I think the answer was no. And what they suggested to me is that a lot of people are fitting the HEPCO and Becker rear rack, which can, it's not intended to, but it can double up as a sort of a grab facility for the passenger. And you know, wherever I've sort of researched this subject, it's the HEPCO and Becker rack that keeps coming up. So yeah, I mean, there seems to be more than one solution with HEPCO and Becker. Let's have a look. I'll just put these out of the way. Let's have a look at the actual kit itself. Now, it comes in a sort of minimal package. It's basically just a plastic bag. What we have is two SIBO mounting systems. These are what actually accept the bag or the hard case or whatever it is that you choose from HEPCO and Becker's range as your luggage option. It looks like it's precision die cast, really well made piece of kit actually. I'm quite impressed with that. It sort of reminds me of some of the Motor and Customs parts. It's been powder coated. It's a flawless finishing on it, really nice. I'm gonna have to be careful what I do with these. We've got a left one and a right one. Let me just have a look, see if these are actually different in design. I suspect they're not. I suspect they'll be identical. Yeah, so your left and your right, yeah, you can't get these mixed up because they're both, as far as I can see, exactly the same item. Let me just put these out of the way. I think the you know, the difference from side to side, from one side to the other, obviously is in the actual mounting brackets that those SIBOs fit onto, but they both have a common design. Now the instructions are in German and English. I don't know whether that's the only ones that they do. They're quite well produced instructions. As I say, they're quite simple, and it is specific to the model that you're working on. It may be that they produce them in French and Spanish and Italian and, you know, whatever for other sort of destinations. But yeah, it does seem pretty straightforward to me. Now this is the rear right rack, so that will go on this side. Let me get the other one. Not quite a confusing looking bag of fasteners, but I'm sort of guessing from my experience with these kind of kits in the past, once you actually get started, they soon disappear. This is the, it's not actually marked up on this, but this is the left hand rack. Now I can see straight away you're going to lose these bobbins for strapping down luggage, but at the end of the day you're putting a very versatile luggage system on, so I think the need for these really disappears once you've fitted this system. I mean, it's nice to have these, but you know, once you've got the bags on, they're not really required anymore, especially when you consider I'll be putting a rack on as well. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to switch the microphone off because, as I say, it's the receiver eats camera batteries, and I'm just going to narrate over it as I'm editing the video. Talk to you in a minute. Right, in order to carry this fitting out, you need just three tools. You will need a 6mm Allen key to remove the fasteners that you see in me unfasten here. Now the replacements are 5mm, so you will also need a 5mm Allen key. And then on top of that, you're going to need a 10mm hex spanner or mini socket, and that's basically it. Now the instructions tell you to remove the fastener that you see me unfastening now, and the fastener that just holds the top mount of the shock absorber in place. I found that I had to open up or loosen off a further fastener. This particular fastener that you see me unfastening now, it sort of brings together several different components, and they're all sort of flexing in different directions, and as you can see, it was quite stiff. It required quite a lot of force to unscrew it, and it's got quite a long thread. Now the problem is, when you remove this fastener, everything sort of springs back into the position that it wanted to be in the first place. So when it comes to replacing this fastener, you've got a lot of lining up to do in it, and it's quite difficult, to be quite honest. Things won't line up. But I did find a solution to make this just a little bit easier. Now you've just seen me remove the spacer from the socket in the lifting bracket. You're going to need to reuse that, so keep it safe for reinstallation. Now once you've removed that fastener, you can go ahead and remove the bolt that holds the top of the shock absorber onto the shock absorber mount. Now don't worry, your shock absorber isn't going to come off. This fastener is simply there to stop the shock absorber from sliding out of the mount when the vehicle's in use. Now keep the original black washer that is affixed to that fastener, because again you will be reusing that, but you won't be reusing the original fasteners. Offer your mounting bracket for the respective side that you're working on up to the bike, so you can sort of see how it fits. And I've got to say, the precision of these brackets is excellent. The problem that I did come across was just this joint that I'm looking at here with the sort of large spacer in it. You've got a plastic mudguard, you've got a washer in between the mudguard and the bracket, which slipped out of place when I finally removed the fastener, and then you've got to thread everything through those, including your new bracket and the spacer, and one of those just needs to shift out of place by about 0.5 millimeter, and you'll find it impossible to actually thread your new fastener in. Now the other thing is, of course, what you don't want to do is strip or cross thread your threads when you're putting your new fastener in. And I think there is scope for that happening if you just try to force the fastener in. So this is what I did. Now in your kit you'll find a total of 4 Allen bolts, 2 long ones and 2 short ones. You'll also find a total of 4 large washers. Well, they're not large, but they're larger than the other ones. A total of 8 small 10mm bolts and 8 smaller washers. Now using the short Allen bolts along with one of the larger washers, and not forgetting to reuse the OEM black washer between the bracket and the top of the shock absorber. Thread the Allen bolt into the top shock mount, but just finger tight, don't tighten it up. Now you might get lucky, so it's worth trying it first. Using the longer of your 2 Allen bolts along with one of those washers, put it through your bracket and then offer it up to that fastener with the spacer in place, and see if you can get it threaded. Now be gentle with it, because the last thing you want to do here is damage a thread, and see if you can get it threaded in. If it's not going to go, don't force it. I had trouble with both sides, but there is a solution. If you loosen the forward fastener on the lifting bracket, it will allow you to just move the lifting bracket slightly. I mean, I was just checking the threads here to make sure that it was okay, and it was fine. Now this just gives you a little bit of movement to help you to line things up. There is a large washer between this lifting handle and the rear mudguard, which will probably fall out when you loosen it off, so you have to remember to get that back in place as well between the two. Now the thing is, this washer had shifted slightly when I'd originally removed the fastener, which is what was causing the problem getting everything lined up. And it's still not easy, but with this little bit of movement it does provide you with more scope to line all the individual pieces together. So put one of the larger washers from your kit onto the long Allen bolt, put your Allen bolt through your mounting bracket, put your spacer onto the Allen bolt on the other side of the mounting bracket, then put the spacer and the fastener into the socket on the lifting handle, then push it through just far enough so that you can put that original washer back on the end of the fastener, and then offer everything up. And with a bit of patience and a bit of careful manipulating, you will be able to cleanly engage the thread into the socket in the frame. Again, you don't need to fasten it up fully at this point, but what I would do is go back to that forward fastener on the lifting handle and just tighten that up back to where it should be. Now there is slight scope for height adjustment with this bracket, not much, but I would always advise pushing it up as far as you possibly can, then go ahead and tighten up all the fasteners. I won't show you fitting both sides because obviously both sides are exactly the same, they're just a mirror image of each other. And once you've done that, it's time to fit the actual SIBO. As you can see, the SIBO bracket itself is pre-threaded. Now there are two additional threads that you don't use in this application. I'm not quite sure what they're for, but just remember this is a light alloy, so don't over tighten fasteners. They need to be snugged up but not over tightened, because you're running steel bolts into what I think is an aluminium thread, so there is scope there for stripping the threads if you get too heavy handed. Line the threaded holes in the SIBO bracket up with the holes in the mounting bracket, then using 4 on each side, your 10mm bolts with washer to securely fasten the SIBO onto the mounting bracket. Once again, as you can see here, there is a little bit of scope for height adjustment, and again, I would always advise pulling it upwards as far as you possibly can so that you've got maximum clearance for your bags or luggage when you fit them. Obviously, repeat this operation on the other side as well, and you're good to go. That's your SIBO luggage carrying system installed on your Honda GB350s. Right, so there you have it. That's the fitting of the HEPCO and Becker SIBO luggage carrying system. As I say, HEPCO and Becker have a complete range of SIBO bags and panniers, sort of hard panniers, more modern sort of looking soft panniers, as long as some legacy sort of retro style panniers. So you're spoilt for choice, really. They also come in different sizes, so you're spoilt for choice as to what you actually want to put on your bike, whatever bike it is. They do kits to suit most sort of mainstream motorcycles. So, you know, if you're interested in one of these, although the kits will obviously be slightly different for fitment to your bike, they do have options for most popular makes and models of bikes. All in all, I mean, this went on pretty easily. It was a lot easier than I expected it to be. It's a really high quality piece of kit. It's really well finished, really well designed. I didn't have any problems with the tolerances anywhere. The only difficult bit is this joint here, where you've got, you know, your washer, your bracket, the spacer, then you've got to get it through this piece of bracketry here. You've got washer at the back, and then you've got to get everything through there, through the mudguard and into the frame, and it is a bit of a awkward joint to deal with, but it's doable. As I say, what I did is I just loosened this joint off slightly, which just allowed me to be able to move that so that I can jiggle everything about and just line it up, because the last thing you want to be doing is you know, stripping the thread in the frame, and I can see there is possible scope for doing that. So just having everything loosened off slightly, you know, gives you that clearance to be able to manipulate everything in straight. No hassle in the end, we've got it done. Yeah, really pleased with it. I mean, it does strike me that I've maybe made a rod for my own back here, because the rear rack uses some common mounting points. So I may have to remove, or at the very least loosen, some of this off. But I knew that before I started with this job. I'm mainly fitting the rack so that Paula, as a pillion, has something to hold on to behind her. And I won't be carrying a pillion until I've got a few more miles on the engine. I've got just, I think, about 120 miles on the engine. Once I've got past the initial 300 miles, then I'll be quite happy to take a pillion. So you know, it's not urgent. I can wait until then. It'll probably be next week or the week after. But I did need to get some bags on, because yeah, I need to be able to carry my gear around, and panniers are an absolute must for me. Once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this and my other videos, and in doing so helping to support this channel. I really do appreciate it. I'd also appreciate it if you would leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. It does help me out, as I've said before. Now, there are other ways that you can help me via my Patreon page or via PayPal donations. The details for those are in the video description down below, or you could use the super thanks button below the video that you're watching now. It's not essential. I just see it as a tipping jar, so that if you feel you want to show your appreciation, you can. If you don't, no pressure. I am, of course, going to be back on Friday, where we'll have a look at those bags. The only issue with these bags, I chose the large size. Now, I did ask Hepco and Becker if the large size were compatible because of the upswept exhaust on the right-hand side of the bike. They didn't actually answer the question, but they did send the large ones through, so fingers crossed that that's going to work out. Honda, with theirs, they have a smaller bag on the right-hand side to take that exhaust into consideration, with a large bag on the left. And really, I need two large bags for carrying everything that I need. So yeah, fingers crossed that works okay. Otherwise, I'm going to have to be ordering the smaller 9-litre bag. Let's see how it goes. I'm, of course, going to be back on Friday with those bags. So until then, please ride safely, and I'll see you soon.